12 guns, one man, no way out. February 14th, 1933. Cotton Club basement. Bumpy Johnson walks into a trap he knows is waiting. Dutch Schultz's executioners are already inside. Tommy the Blade Vento, Marty Icepick Delaney, 10 more killers whose faces the NYPD keeps in unmarked files. They've been promised $500 each for one job. Kill Bumpy Johnson. Make it hurt. Make it last. Bumpy's 27, still young, still learning the game. Dutch Schultz owns half of New York. He's killed politicians, cops, anyone who said no. And now he wants Harlem. All of it. The numbers racket, the protection money, the respect. Everything Bumpy's built with Madame Stephanie St. Clair. Everyone knows how this ends. A body in a basement, another black man who got too bold, another warning to anyone thinking about standing up to white power. But 90 minutes later, only one of those 12 men walks out alive. And the message he carries back to Dutch Schultz makes the most feared mobster in New York go silent for the first time in his life. This is the night Bumpy Johnson stopped being an enforcer and became untouchable. Harlem, 1933. The Depression hit hard. The Renaissance is over. Langston Hughes is writing about dreams deferred. Billie Holiday is singing in basement clubs for pocket change. People are hungry, desperate, and when you're desperate, you gamble. The numbers racket is hope in a paper bag. You put down a nickel on a 3-digit number. If it hits, you win $50. For people making $7 a week, that nickel isn't gambling. It's a prayer. It's rent money. It's feeding your kids for a month. Every bodega, every barbershop, every street corner has a runner taking bets. And all that hope, all those nickels, add up to millions. Dutch Schultz sees those millions. Bronx kid who made his fortune running whiskey during Prohibition. German, Jewish, brutal, smart. But Prohibition's ending. He needs a new empire. So he looks south to Harlem. He wants it. There's just one problem. Harlem already has a queen. Madame Stephanie St. Clair, Caribbean immigrant, built her empire from nothing, and she has an enforcer who doesn't just break legs, he breaks expectations. Bumpy Johnson. Bumpy's different. He's not another street thug with a gun and attitude. He's been reading Marcus Garvey in prison, Shakespeare, W.E.B. Du Bois, Frederick Douglass. He copies passages into notebooks, studies them, memorizes them, applies them to the streets. Knowledge is power, he tells the young runners working for Madame St. Clair. They want you ignorant, they want you angry, they want you predictable. Don't give them what they want. He understands something most gangsters never learn. In Harlem, fear gets you killed. Respect gets you crowned. Fear is temporary. Respect is generational. When someone robs Madame St. Clair's runners, Bumpy gets the money back, not by killing the thief, by finding leverage, by discovering who the thief loves, who they're trying to protect, then making a simple offer. Work for us or watch everyone you care about suffer. The thief always chooses to work. When dirty cops shake down black businesses, Bumpy makes them regret it, sometimes with violence, sometimes with a word to the right judge, sometimes with a photograph delivered to a wife who thought her husband was working late. He's playing chess while everyone else is throwing punches, and he's 3 moves ahead before you even sit down at the board, and he will not bow to Dutch Schultz. January 1933. Dutch sends his people to Harlem. 3 men in expensive suits, Italian silk, gold watches. They sit down at Madame St. Clair's place on 133rd Street, the best table, right in the center, making sure everyone sees them. The message is simple. Work with us. Give us 40%, or we take everything and leave you with nothing. Madame St. Clair, a Caribbean immigrant who built her empire from absolutely nothing, looks at these white men sitting in her establishment like they own it. She lights a cigarette, takes a slow drag, lets the silence stretch, then says 2 words. Get out. The men turn to Bumpy standing in the corner. One of them smiles, the kind of smile that says he's killed men before. You sure you want to make this mistake, boy? Bumpy doesn't move, doesn't blink, just stares. That stare. The one that makes men suddenly remember appointments they're late for. The one that makes tough guys check their watches and realize they need to be somewhere else. The emissaries leave. They report back to Dutch. And Dutch Schultz, who's never heard the word no from anyone, especially not from a black woman and her enforcer, makes a decision. If they won't give him Harlem, he'll take it over their dead bodies, starting with Bumpy. He doesn't just want Bumpy dead. He wants it public, brutal. The kind of death that makes every other player in Harlem fall in line. The kind of message that echoes for years. February 14th, 1933. Valentine's Day. Ironic considering what's about to happen. Bumpy gets a tip. Dutch's crew is planning to hit Madame St. Clair's main counting house on Lenox Avenue at dawn. The tip comes from a bartender Bumpy helped out last year. Guy's daughter needed medicine. Bumpy paid for it. Didn't ask for anything in return. Now the bartender's returning the favor. Bumpy goes to check it out, alone. Later, people will argue about this decision. Was it arrogance, stupidity, or did Bumpy know exactly what he was walking into? The Cotton Club basement. Not the famous Cotton Club downtown where white folks go slumming to watch black performers. This is the real Cotton Club. The after-hours spot where Harlem's players come to drink until sunrise, where deals get made, where scores get settled. The basement is storage, crates of bootleg liquor, poker tables that have seen fortunes won and lost, one exit up a narrow staircase. Perfect place for an ambush. 4:47 a.m. Bumpy descends those stairs. The smell hits him first. Tobacco, sweat, gun oil. The room is dark except for one bare bulb hanging from a cord. It sways slightly, making shadows dance on the concrete walls. He hears it before he sees it. The sound of metal sliding against leather, hammers being cocked, safeties clicking off. 12 men step out of the darkness. Tommy Vento moves forward. He's shorter than Bumpy, wider. He's killed 16 men in his career, always close, always looking them in the eye when he does it. He smiles. Dutch sends his regards. Bumpy stands there, hands loose at his sides, face calm. He looks around the room, counts, 12. He looks back at Tommy. That all? The smile drops off Tommy's face like someone cut the strings. See, that's the thing about Bumpy Johnson most people don't understand. He doesn't posture, doesn't bluff. Every word means something. Standing there outnumbered 12-1, asking if that's all they sent isn't bravado, it's calculation. Tommy raises his gun. You got about 5 seconds to beg. Bumpy tilts his head slightly. You're making a mistake. What mistake? You're about to be dead. The mistake, Bumpy says slowly, is thinking I walked down here alone. 12 guns stay pointed at his chest, but now there's something else in the room. Doubt, hesitation. Tommy glances at the stairs. Nothing there. He looks back at Bumpy. You're lying. Bumpy smiles for the first time. Then shoot. Nobody shoots, because Dutch Schultz's men don't know something Bumpy learned when he was 10 years old in Charleston. Violence has a rhythm, like music, like breathing. And whoever controls the rhythm controls the fight. Right now, standing in that basement, Bumpy owns the rhythm. Tommy's finger tightens on the trigger. Last chance. Bumpy moves. What happens next becomes legend. The one survivor's testimony is confused, fractured, full of gaps. But here's what we know. Bumpy doesn't go for a weapon. He goes for the light. One fast movement. His fist connects with the hanging bulb. Glass explodes. The filament dies. Total darkness. Complete. Absolute. For 3 seconds, nobody moves. 12 men holding their breath, listening, trying to adjust to the blackness, their eyes useless, their training useless. Everything they know about killing suddenly irrelevant, then chaos. The first shot comes from Tommy's gun. A muzzle flash lights up the basement for a split second, just long enough for everyone to see the shadows moving, just long enough to panic. Then everyone starts shooting, wild, desperate, at sounds, at movement, at ghosts. Hold fire, Tommy's screaming. Hold your fire! But fear doesn't follow orders. Fear is shooting at sounds, at movement, at anything. Tommy's second-in-command turns and puts 2 bullets into the man beside him. 3 guys shoot at the same shadow, hitting each other. Fear's reaching for your partner in the dark and feeling something wet, something warm, realizing it's blood. In that darkness, Bumpy becomes something else. He knows this basement. He's played poker here every Friday for 2 years. He knows the liquor crates are stacked 4 high against the west wall. He knows there's a support beam 3 feet from the stairs. He knows every corner, every shadow. These 12 men don't. He grabs a bottle from a crate, heavy glass, throws it across the room. It shatters against the far wall. 4 guns immediately fire at the sound. 2 of those bullets find human targets. Screaming now, real screaming, not anger, terror. Bumpy finds the first man hiding behind the poker table, grabs him from behind, slams his head against the edge, once, twice. The man stops moving. Bumpy takes his gun, not to shoot, to throw. He hurls it across the room. Metal hits metal, a pipe. The sound rings out. 3 more guns fire at it. One by one, they fall. Not from Bumpy's bullets, from their panic, from shooting each other, from the darkness consuming them. The stairs! Tommy's voice is raw now, hoarse. Get to the stairs! But Bumpy's already there, blocking the only exit. The first man reaches for the railing. Bumpy grabs his wrist, twists. The arm breaks at the elbow. The man screams, falls backward into 2 others. They all go down in a tangle of limbs and panic. The violence lasts 4 minutes. 4 minutes that feel like hours. 4 minutes that break men in ways bullets never could. Then silence. Heavy, complete, broken only by someone whimpering in the corner. When someone finally opens the door from upstairs, light spills down like water. Here's what they find. 11 bodies. Some dead, some unconscious, some still breathing but wishing they weren't. Broken bones, gunshot wounds from friendly fire, blood pooling on concrete, and 1 man sitting against the wall, hyperventilating, gun still in his shaking hands. Marty, ice-pick Delaney, the only one still conscious. Bumpy Johnson is gone, vanished. Marty crawls up those stairs, takes him 25 minutes. Every movement is agony, broken ribs. Maybe internal bleeding. His right leg won't work right, might be shattered. He doesn't look back at the basement. Can't. If he looks back, he'll see the bodies. He'll remember the screaming. He'll remember that moment when Tommy grabbed his arm in the darkness and whispered, "Help me." And then there was that wet sound, and Tommy stopped talking forever. He makes it to the street as dawn breaks. The world looks different now, softer, quieter, like he's watching it through glass. Shock, probably, or blood loss, or both. He flags down a cab with blood-soaked money. "You need a hospital, friend," the driver says, staring at the blood. "No, Arthur Avenue, Dutch Schultz's place, you know it." The driver knows it. Everyone knows it. He doesn't ask questions. Smart man. 8:33 a.m. Marty stumbles into Dutch's social club. Dutch is eating breakfast, eggs, toast, coffee, reading about the giants. He looks up, sees Marty covered in blood. Dutch's face goes still, that complete stillness predators get right before they strike. "Where are my men?" Marty can't speak at first, opens his mouth. Nothing comes out. He shakes his head, tears streaming, not from pain, from memory, from the sounds of dying men in the dark. "Where are my men?" "Dead." Marty's voice is barely a whisper. "All of them." "What?" He let me live." Dutch stands up slowly. The newspaper falls to the floor. "He let you live?" "To give you a message." The entire room goes quiet. Dutch's lieutenants, his accountants, his bodyguards. Everyone stops, watches, waits. "What message?" Marty reaches into his jacket. Dutch's men reach for their guns, but Marty pulls out a single playing card, the Ace of Spades, soaked in blood. He places it on the table. "He said to tell you, Harlem's not for sale, and if you send more men, send more cards. He's collecting a full deck." Dutch Schultz stares at that card. His men wait for the order. Wait for Dutch to send 50 men to burn Harlem to ash. Wait for war. They've seen Dutch go to war over less. They've seen him kill men for looking at him wrong. 12 of his best soldiers are dead. This should be simple. Instead, Dutch picks up the card, studies it. The blood is dried brown at the edges. He can see a fingerprint, Bumpy's fingerprint, left there deliberately, a signature. Then he laughs, not happy, tired, the laugh of a chess player who just realized his opponent saw his strategy 10 moves ago. He's got guts, I'll give him that. "Boss, we can't let this—" Dutch raises his hand. The room goes silent, complete. The kind of silence where you can hear the clock ticking on the wall. You know what it costs to go to war with someone who's not afraid to die? Dutch asks quietly. Someone smarter than you? Someone who has an entire neighborhood ready to bleed for him? Someone who can kill 12 armed men in a dark basement and walk away without a scratch? He looks at Marty still bleeding on the floor, looks at his men, looks at the bloody card. It costs everything. And for what? Pride? Territory? He shakes his head. There's easier money out there, safer money, money that doesn't come with a body count. He drops the card in an ashtray, pulls out a lighter, sets it on fire, watches the Ace of Spades curl, blacken, turn to ash. We're done in Harlem. Bumpy Johnson earned it. Let him have it. The decision shocks everyone. Dutch Schultz, who went to war with Lucky Luciano, who killed his own partners, who built an empire on the principle that weakness gets you killed. Backing down now? But it isn't weakness, it's math. Cold, brutal math. And Dutch Schultz didn't become the most powerful mobster in New York by making emotional decisions. He made it by knowing when to fight and when to walk away. Years later, in the 1970s, a reporter finds an old Cotton Club employee, asks what really happened that night. The old man smiles. You want the truth? Yes? Bumpy wasn't alone. He had 4 guys upstairs the whole time. They locked the basement door from the outside once Dutch's men went down, trapped them. Bumpy could have killed all 12 if he wanted, but he let one live. On purpose. Why? Because Bumpy understood something most gangsters never learn. Killing sends a message, but humiliation ends wars. Nobody knows if that's true or just another legend. What we do know is this. After that night, Dutch Schultz never sent another man to Harlem. Bumpy Johnson became king. And for the next 35 years, he protected that neighborhood like it was his own family. Not with random violence, with strategy, with intelligence, with a code. And that Ace of Spades? Bumpy kept it, framed it, hung it in his office. A reminder that respect isn't given. It's taken. February 14th, 1933. 12 men walked into a basement, 1 walked out, and Harlem was never the same. If this story hit different, subscribe. We're telling the Bumpy Johnson stories that history tried to bury, the moments that made him legendary, the code that made him untouchable. Drop a like if you think strategy beats strength. Comment what you would have done in that basement. More stories coming. Don't miss them.